You are now listening to the Dual Position Podcast.
The boys are back to talk all things SuperCoach all season long.
Please welcome your hosts, Whisperer and Brew.
Check, 1, 2. We're back after a little bit of a prolonged period. Took Sunday off because there was one footy game and 3 training drills to run through. It was a very, very uneventful week for SuperCoach, but the main host, which is myself, I got a green arrow. Brew, my secondary host, also saw a green arrow. Moving on up. Nothing can stop us, as the famous song once said. I'm into 240th. You are not, but green arrows are green arrows. 12,802. Better than a few other guys in the space out there, mate. So green arrows are always positive, aren't they?
Oh, I guess so. I was expecting a red arrow, to be honest with you. It was a bit of it. I wouldn't say it was a stinker of a round. All my guys and my trade-ins went well. I missed a few of the key guys, and everyone seemed to be getting 1,000, and I got high 700s.
Yeah, seeing guys like Drinkwater, Hamwell. I mean, I know you got kick out. I mean, I didn't have him. Like, my trade-ins were good. I mean, I traded Manu. He went well. I traded in someone else. They also went well. Hey, did you stick to your guns and go Burton?
No, not in the end.
No. You spoke about him in such high regard. You said you weren't ever moving off him.
I called it. I knew he was going to have a good one. No, I went Angus, and he got 80 odd. I went Kickow, who got 89 or something like that, and I went Ruben Garrick, who got 99. See, like, I can't really complain about those scores, but I kind of stuffed myself up because my plan was to see how the first two went and then decide on Angus or Manu based on, whether or not I needed a lot of points. And I stuffed up my my duels. I had Tago in the centers and I think Talakai up in second row, so I couldn't do the dual switch to get Angus into Manu, and then he ended up killing it. So it hurt me a little bit, but we move on.
If it makes you feel better, I looped Garrick's 199, then watched in horror as Manu absolutely tore the house down with a 130, and we were going to captain him, but with a free loop and 199, it was just too good to pass up. I was very much expecting red arrows as well. I had a bit of a mope on Sunday night about how poor my score was compared to everyone else around. I got a 955, which I was expecting to plummet, but yeah, we somehow saw green and we're up inside the 250, and now we've just got to try and consolidate. I guess let's do a quick rundown of like the star performance. Obviously, Manu was sensational. Scott Drinkwater as well. Just the guy, like I say it every week, like Todd Payton didn't think this guy was in his top 17. And yeah. I'm just glad that we're finally seeing his full talent. Who else killed it? Obviously Garrick with 99. Angus had some nice junk kick hours as well. Hamwell crashed over for a try. Like, I didn't watch that game. I was watching bits and pieces of it, and then my phone was just blowing up when Hamwell scored. So it's just like, I was off to a bad front, but then yeah, Garrick, Manu, Angus, they all killed it. I mean, Nat Butcher played like 31 minutes. Like, what's going on there? Plenty of people have asked about him in the chat, whether he's a sell. His break-even's like 41, so he doesn't scream sell to me. I'm going to ride him out for another week or two. Who else kind of shit the bed? Tom Starling. Yep. Ricky Stewart. Just, it is what it is.
Meanwhile, the other fellow got 50.
Oh, yeah, I don't get it. Adam Elliott with a 99. What a hero. I brought in Joe Tarpany. What a hero. Oh,
let's talk about Joe Tarpany.
What a man!
I don't even care if we're just talking about football and not talking about SuperCoach.
Oh, he's just so
that
good.
That guy is an absolute beast, an absolute weapon. Ricky needs to be giving him 50 to 60 minutes a week, because they're a much better side when he's on the field. Like, I wish I had him in my SuperCoach side, because it takes 4 blokes to tackle him and he still seems to get an arm free. Yeah, I was very happy with that trade in. We ended up did getting him in last week. Who else was really good? I mean, Jason Tamalolo just punched out work for fun without Ruben Cotter there, and I don't know, like we'll touch on Teamless Tuesday shortly, but Todd Payton hasn't named any of his rep stars, and maybe Lolo goes back to back, but we'll touch on that. Apart from that, anyone else that you want to highlight or put some shit on from last week's performance? Oh, the Roosters' entire offensive line. Go put shit on them if you want, because I was horrified watching that game. No, it was a strange old bye round, because pretty much all the key guys, and not many people would have had all the key guys, but they all seemed to perform. So it was just interesting. Like you're sitting there going, oh shit, I didn't loop this. And then next game, another fella goes even bigger. And the next game, another guy goes even bigger. And I was dirty. I didn't VC kick out, and I did it on Garrick. And then Garrick goes and gets 99. And I'm, happy as a dog with two dicks until I see Joey Manu.
Yeah, no, I looped. I mean, you have to. Like, if you have a free loop, like a completely free loop, and you're getting 99, like you take it, and then Manu just
absolutely
killed it. And let's quickly touch on him because you're a Roosters fan, and his Supercoach scores were fantastic, but I didn't think he played that well.
No, it was purely a work rate performance, but at the same time, he kind of hindered the attack a little bit because there was times where. Yeah, he ran across field and he bumped off 4 or 5 blokes, which is great for Supercoach, but it wasn't good for the structure of the Roosters in our actual attack. Like there was times where he needed to pass the ball and we actually had an overlap and he didn't, he went himself. So yeah, I was a bit frustrated because I wasn't so much watching that game as a Supercoach fan. I was actually really riding that game. It was a key game for the Chooks. They'll probably lose.
This is why
at least 2 of their next 3. So
this is why you support.
It's a big loss.
This is why you should support a shit team like the Tigers. So then you don't give a shit about the footy at all, and you can just focus on Supercoach. Like you don't care if they win or lose.
When are they announcing you as coach, Josh?
Oh man, I couldn't do any worse than what Madge has done. But. Nope. Hey, maybe I might take the Warriors job and then not move there when the time comes. Teamless Tuesday was today. There's actually like a lot to go through. Like we've actually got I've probably got 10, 12 dot points here. And we'll run from top to toe. So as I said before, the Queensland side, obviously the Queensland rep stars, a lot of them are from the North Queensland. I think they've got 3. They've got Nanai, Dearden, Cotter, I think off the top of my head, and then Tuolagi was in the squad, but he was released last week. Todd Payton has elected to not name any of those guys in his top 17 for this week. They're all on the extended bench. I do expect Tom Dearden will play. I expect him to come in. He's the 18th man for Queensland, so if you own Tom Dearden, expect him to play. However, Ruben Cotter and Jeremiah Nanai, I think they might come in, but I'm not playing. Like, just to give you an idea, I've benched Cotter, and I'm not playing him at all this week. Like, I just think the minutes are going to be really, really gross. What are they, 2 days off the back of Origin, when Cotter will play one of the hardest games of his life. So, I'm not playing Cotter this week. I do expect them to play, however. Paul Turner looks to be the 5'8", Paul Turner at 5'8" centre wing at 228k. Looks to be the Gold Coast number 6 answer with Jaden Campbell out for 6 to 8 weeks, sorry.
8.
So... yeah, I guess we can give Paul Turner a watch. Came over from the Warriors, if I can remember last year, and available at less than 230k. Has that centre wing eligibility. Can we get behind him at all, or is there no point buying cheapies that aren't going to play round 17 moving forward?
Yeah, I'm probably on the latter train, unless he comes out and absolutely kills it for 2 weeks and looks like a bloke that could either make serious fast cash or score you points that are beneficial to your 17. I'll probably be skipping.
Yeah, no, I also agree. Unless you need to nuff out, unless you need to find cash, I don't hate going to Paul Turner in a couple of weeks' time, and then he shouldn't be an AE nightmare moving forward. So it just depends on how he goes in his first 2 weeks. Pete Mamazoulias is on the bench for the Rabbitohs. Damien Cook is named to start. Cameron Murray is also named to start, but they've named a specialist hooker on the bench. If we're Damien Cook owners, we expect him to back up, but we're concerned about minute rotation.
Yeah, I'd say he probably does a 50-30 split if he does back up.
The Roosters name all their Origin stars as for the same as Melbourne. I expect a lot of them to play. Harry Grant has been named, which is interesting. I'm interested to see what kind of minutes that Grant does get. Obviously, having the issue that he had with his groin and then playing Origin, it'll be a question. I don't think he plays the full 80, but what kind of workload will he get? But yeah, the key points are that Melbourne and the Roosters both name their full sides, which yeah, it's a really good game. You'd wish you'd watched this game maybe 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks later, like when the Origin stars aren't going to be hampered, but you take the good games when they come, especially what we saw last week. The biggest news out of Teamless Tuesday today, though, Tyson Campbell out with leg soreness, in quotation marks. There's reports that it could be a tibia issue or whatever. But that sees the man with 109 break even, and what has he got, an average of 81 or something like that? Ezra Mam finally gets to start without any competition. People are saying he's a trap. I see it, but I was buying him regardless. and now that he's actually playing, it's even better. Like I'm all aboard the MAM train. He's the title of this episode. He's the thumbnail. He's the headline act. Are we all aboard Ezra MAM?
Yeah, well, look, I've been fighting with a few people for about a week about Ezra, and initially when I saw the team list and saw he'd been named, my ego, blew out of control because I thought the Gamble had been dropped. And my expectation was the Gamble would either get dropped or go to 14, and that they might just say Ezra's better, like he's the future. We're gonna roll with this. But when I found out it was an injury, it soured it a little bit. But at the same time, I'm sitting there going, you know what, Reynolds loves an injury, and if he comes out and kills it again this week, which he quite possibly do, it's up in Suncorp. The Raiders are hot and cold. I'm leaning towards getting him and just hoping that for one, he'll make 100K this week.
Yeah,
for nothing.
Just stepping on the field.
So worst case scenario, he plays one game and we don't see him again. Well, the dude made 100K, so it's not all doom and gloom. We've got Cooler and Tass and fucking Carraz and all these blokes that have not even made 100K sitting in our centers. So we're kind of used to it this season. So I might risk it. At the moment, I've got him in.
Oh God, I didn't think this was a question. He's absolutely straight in from my side. Worst case is he becomes a really good AA because he won't be on the bench. That'd be so fantastic. No Kurt Capewell for the Broncos. I'm not too sure why he hasn't been named. I think Kevy. I don't know actually because he's named Payne Haas
in Origin.
Yeah, no, but he's named Payne Haas to start. He's named Pat Carrigan to start. But Capewell's not even in the squad at all. So interesting to note there. And as I said, the other Origin stars have been named in Haas and Carrigan and Cobbo and Staggs, etc. So they're all set to play. Ricky Stewart also named his Origin stars to play as well, with James Schiller, your favourite, coming onto the wing in place of Jordan Rapiner while he is serving pretty sure it's a one-match suspension. For the Tigers, David Norfoluma is back and Stefano is ruled out. For Manly, DC and Gerbo named to back up. Sorry, I say Gerbo. Gerbo didn't even get picked. Didn't even get picked. DC is set to back up. DC backs up all year, every year, which is a great thing about his Supercoach prospects. Josh Schuster back to the bench as well. Kurt Mann returns from his 1 in 1.5 billion injury. I think only one person in the world has had the same injury he had, so he's back on the bench for the Knights. All the Panther stars set to play. Josh Curran back on the bench for the Stacey Jones-led New Zealand Warriors. Wade Graham also on the bench for the Sharks. TPJ named on the extended bench for the Broncos, as is Matt Duffy. That sees Jake Averillo move to fullback. And Mike Acevo, the man that I'm probably most keen to be watching for Supercoach stocks moving forward, is back for Parramatta. He's had about 17 tries, 46 line breaks, 800 tackle busts in the last 2 weeks in Reggie's. He's been killing it.
I've been looking at Sevo, to be honest with you. It's really fraught with danger.
If I had the balls,
I feel like he could go out this week and get 150 points.
Oh yeah, 100%. Or he could get 15.
But yeah, that's what I was about to say.
He's such an enigma
for the next 3 weeks after, and I don't know if I need that pain.
Nah,
I've already got all the pain in my side. My side is shit, I'll be honest. I made all the wrong decisions this year and I'm struggling.
Sevo's the kind of guy.
My way out of it,
Sevo's the kind of guy that you have to own at some point every year. And I'm definitely eyeing him off. If I had the balls big enough and the money available, I probably would have bought him this week against the Dogs. But yeah, he's definitely one to watch, and I probably will own him for round 17. But yeah, that's a big teamless Tuesday, and that sort of has a roll-on effect into the top 10 most bought, top 5 most sold. Hey, no prizes for guessing who the number 1 most purchased player is, with nearly 20% of teams buying Ezra Mann this week. Now, we gave our sort of quick thoughts, but we'll go more in detail. So, Tyson Gamble out for potentially 2 weeks, could be longer. Could be, Ezra Mann just could win the job. He's played really, really well with no Adam Reynolds there, and if they strike up a good combination, if he's the future... Gamble screams like he's a natural 14 to me. So I think it's definitely worth...
he'd be good. He's a big unit, Gamble. I think he could suit the 14. And we know he's played a bit of hooker before. And, the hookers for Brisbane's probably one area they don't really have nailed down. So I don't see why it's a problem.
Yeah, so I'm definitely all aboard the Ezra Mann train, and so are 18.5% of coaches at time of recording, which is a lot. That considering this stage in the season, like 18% of the total player pool, considering like not even the entire player pool are playing right now, that is huge. Number 2 is Mr. Plotter himself, Cam McInnes, brought in by 5.1% of teams. No Dale Finucane around, off the back of a 2-line break, 1 try performance 2 weeks ago before the bye. Price is probably getting back to where his market value is. The time to buy him probably was 3 weeks ago at his bottom out price, but I still think there's value there, and he's got that really handy flexibility at dual hooker 2RF, and as I said, no Wade Graham, no Dale Finucane still, so, and the bench looks pretty thin. You've got Andrew Fafita, who you don't expect to play big minutes. You've got Braden Trindle, who's sort of a back utility, and you've also got a young guy, I think he's played 1 game, so I wouldn't expect a huge...
Hazelton.
Yeah, Hazelton. I wouldn't expect a huge amount of minutes from him, so, McInnes... You find with these ACLs, the first half of the season's quite slow. They roll on, play better and bigger minutes in the back end of the year. Victor Radley did the exact same thing last year, and I feel like McInnes is now hitting his sort of workload. I think the NRL physio in his podcast mentioned that his base power numbers have gone up dramatically, and that's a big indicator that the ACL you're sort of slowly working through back. So, I think we're hitting peak fitness now for Cam McInnes and a prime round 17 target.
Absolutely. My preseason man crush, Cam McInnes. He's firing on all cylinders, so I don't knock anyone that gets him. I certainly want him sometime soon.
I own all your man crushes, but you don't own them yourself. So
it's
we need to turn that
correct.
around. Number 3, Campbell Graham, 4.4% of coaches buying him in after his stellar performance 2 weeks ago. The only concern here is probably you'd think his first name off the shelf if anything happens to Crichton or Tony Staggs for Origin.
Latrell will be back.
Yeah, he's not available for another 2 weeks, Latrell. I know that he was a popular talk, so when he comes back in, you think even Latrell's going to help Campbell Graham stock dramatically. Souths have a pretty clean draw up until round 17, and I think they play the Dogs in round 17 as well. So, yeah, Campbell Graham, 4.4% of coaches. What are we thinking?
I like the Graham move. Graham's a stud. Graham should have had a sky blue jersey this year. He's been one of the form centers. So and South do they have I think a putrid draw off the top of my head to finish, yes. But over the next 5 or 6 weeks, it's good.
Yeah. I'll caveat that. The minute round 18 opens up, I don't care how many points Cody Walker scores in round 17, he's getting sold because South's draw is putrid. Your man crush, your new love affair is 4th most purchased player this week at 3.8% of teams, and it's Mick Molo.
I wouldn't call him my man crush. He was just a cash out option, but now we've got Ezra Mam. So see you later, Molo. I've got enough Leo Thompson's already in my side.
Yeah, that's what this reeks of as well. Just another sort of plotter. You've got Josh McGuire on the extended bench as well. So I'm not a huge fan of buying a Mika Molo. Number 5, people are bringing back in Dylan Brown, 3.5% of teams to be exact. A Kiwi playing round 17, phenomenal draw for Parramatta, I'm pretty sure, and they just look to be getting good, and like he's just looking to play like, I say career footy, he's only 21, so it's not hard to play career footy, but he's just having a stellar season.
Yep, I'm either getting him or Mitchell Moses this week. I haven't decided which one yet.
It's going to pain me because I'm not going to be able to own Dylan Brown for round 17 because I own Cameron Munster and Cody Walker, and I'm not selling Cameron Munster. It's backwards to sell Cody Walker before round 17. So it pains me I'm not going to be able to own Dylan Brown again. And he's one of those guys I'll be watching sort of with like gaps in my fingers, the same way I watched Hemwall and Kickow and Drinkwater last week. So yeah, I really hope he does not perform. Number 6, despite not being named at all, not even in the extended bench, it's Trent Peoples at 2.7%. I'm assuming a lot of people are just cashing out for enough with the potential to play round 17. I don't hate this.
Cashing out?
Huh?
There's no cash to cash out with.
No. I mean like cashing out like a 2RF, 2 Peoples to upgrade money elsewhere. Like cash out to him.
What? Oh, I don't like that.
Like if they're nothing out, like if they're just nothing out to Peoples.
If they're nothing out, I suppose, but it's a bit early to nuff out, I think.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't love the trade. It is what it is. I'd prefer to pick someone with dual flexibility. Like I'd rather pick up Shannon Hopgood from Penrith, who has the centre wing flexibility, or even pick up a dual front row forward. Peoples is just a bang on 2RF. So even if you are nothing out, it's not the best. I mean, I can understand why people maybe are doing it because he is a player that will maybe play around 17. The exact same reason as to why I bought Ezra Mam, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if Peoples would be my guy. Number 7, Jason Tamalolo at 2.5% of teams bringing him in. I don't see Lolo as a season keeper. And
I like it.
Okay, tell me why, and because I don't. You tell me why you like it.
I like it because it's 450K for a bloke that could average 70, like for the rest of the season. That's why I like it. Basically, I think Cotter's probably going to get managed a little bit through this period, not extensively. I'm not saying he's going to, get 40 minutes or anything, but I think there'll be a swing in the minutes and Lolo will start taking more of the minutes while they manage Cotter through it. And then after that, as long as Lolo's fit and the Cowboys are firing, I just think, you look at Lolo at the start of the year when his minutes weren't getting hammered and he was averaging that between 60 and 80 and you're picking it up for 450K. Like, it doesn't get much better than that for Lolo.
I think the really handy thing is that he did pick up the front row forward eligibility, which does help dramatically. He is 400. You go.
I was going to say front row forward's a little bit. It's ugly. You got Papali'i and Clemmer, and then both Haas and Lolo are kind of you're on the fence with. I think everyone's on the fence. Is Haas going to get his minutes managed or be in the bad books? I suppose for recent events, is Lolo going to punch out more 30s or is he going to go back to the 80s? They're the only real four options that I particularly like at front row forward.
I think the really positive thing with Lolo is from rounds 4 to rounds 8, so it's a 5-week stretch. He played 59, 64, 71, 63, 58 minutes, and respectively scored 68, 63, 86, 62, 69, and then sort of fell off a little bit with a 50, a 24, a 16, and an 80 last week, so a pick up there. So minutes are the key, obviously, with Lolo. I'm not saying that he's a bad buy. It's just wary with what the minutes are going to look like, but I think you do raise a good point with Ruben Cotter being managed over Origin, then Lolo could pick up the slack, and having that dual front row forward flexibility is good. I would just prefer to pay up and get Clemmer, personally. That's just me. At number 8, at 2% of coaches, all these guys, 8, 9, and 10, all 2% coaches. Lomax, Manu, Brandon Smith. Let's start with Lomax first, because he's definitely a guy that I want in my side come round 17, and we'll touch on that sort of at the end of the episode, round 17 targets. So, thoughts on Zach Lomax for this week?
Well, my written plan for this week was to get Lomax, and I'm not sure how he's kind of fallen down the pecking order of who I want. But in general, I'm very high on Lomax, and I don't think the Dragons actually have too bad of a draw in general. I quite like it. So I think Lomax is going to blow out probably in price. I reckon he probably goes pretty good again this week. So it might be a do it now or kind of miss out situation.
Currently 551K with a 2 break even. Heading forward, they have the Cowboys this week, South next week, Raiders the week after that, Broncos, Roosters, Manly, Cowboys, Sharks, Raiders, Titans, Tigers, Broncos. They have a really good run home. Between now and the next sort of month is a tad gross, but the run home is fantastic. And surely, Zach Lomax is a guy that you'd be buying now, and you'd hold him until season's end. So if you're looking at basically just that 23 to 25 stretch, I like it. And with a 2 break even this week, it's probably the last time you'll jump on for around this price as it is. Joey Manu, however, coming off a stellar performance last week, 2%. Is there any value now that he's sort of back to centre and be floating in and out of games a little bit more?
The Chooks play Melbourne, Parramatta, and Penrith in that order for the next 3 weeks, and he should be at centre for all of those games. And, Penrith are a defensive powerhouse, and I expect Melbourne to really fire up this week. And then you got Parramatta. He could score well against Parramatta. Obviously, they did play well against Parramatta when they played them 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I don't like it, to be honest with you. That 130 will fall out. Then he'll play Para and Penrith in consecutive weeks. I think you can get him in round 18 for, at worst, the same price.
I don't know what this says, but I'm actually considering benching all 3 of my Roosters assets in Manu, Tupou, and Suaalii this week, and in favour of a guy like Colt Cooler. So shows you that if I'm happy to bench a guy at 640K, then probably not the best buy target. I think last week was the time to get him, and then I'll definitely ride him out because he's going to have that monster 130 in his average for the next 3 weeks. But I'm not too sure if he's a buy target. However, what are your thoughts on Brandon Smith? Is as the 10th most purchased player this week? A lot of love on him for Twitter. I've never really been one for it, but I just want to get your opinion.
Look, I own Brandon Smith I did that for a purpose. Getting him this week when he's playing 14, unless you're going to pull that trigger on Saturday night, I think it is 5:30 or 7:30 that game is. If he's playing off the bench, I just don't really see it as a worthwhile trade. You know, if he plays, let's say 35 to 45 minutes, I think that's probably roughly where he's going to score. He's not in a rich frame of form. Like, he looked okay when he started the other day, but prior to that, his work rate's a bit off. His attack has fallen off a cliff a little bit this season. I personally, I don't like it.
Yeah, I think for the reasons why I call him a trap in the preseason. Just once he wasn't playing hooker and that attack went away, his PPM never really excited me enough to be a keeper. And lost his minutes to Josh King, and seems like Bellamy is favouring Wishart a little bit here and there. So Cheese is just sort of in the rotation. He's just a regular forward now, so I'm not a huge fan of it. Let's move on to the most sold, and at 8.3% with a break-even of 75, it is Joseph Suwali. You mentioned the Roosters draw before with Joey Manu. Suwali is definitely a guy I'm looking to move on. I don't see him as a season keeper, but unfortunately I don't have the boosts available to move him on this week. Do you agree with him being the most priority sold in what the Supercoach community are thinking?
I suppose people are prioritising selling out their first round by players, and with the Roosters' upcoming draw, makes total sense. He lost 41 roughly off the top of my head K last week. He's got a highish break even again. He's got the Storm this week, and as I said, then he's got Para and Penrith, so he's probably going to plummet in cash. You know, if he does plummet in cash, and you think that there was a chance that he could go on a Cobbo-esque run, I suppose he's a similar player, then just pick him up later, because you can probably pick him up for 300K or thereabouts in a month, or, you know, after the next buy.
Yeah, definitely. Number 2, Christian Tuipulotu, 6.8% of teams selling him with a break-even of 85. I feel like he's done a very exceptional job, and now it's probably time to cut ties.
Yeah, but don't they play the Tigers this week?
They do, but if you can bring in a guy like Campbell Graham, or you can bring in a guy like Ronaldo Mulatalo, for example, like you're moving on.
Ooh, now we're talking.
You're moving on your fallen halfback. You bring in Ezra Mam, and then you move on from like a Tuipulotu, and you bring him a premium centre wing.
I get it. I totally get it. You know, sometimes with these cheaper guys, if they're got cheaper runs, I prioritise moving elsewhere. But if you're going from him, say, up to, well, you mentioned Mulatalo, I think he's the CT dub buy of the week this week, to be honest with you. Then,
well, we're going to have a very
100%
interesting trade talk discussion, because I am looking at a few centre wings, and I need some advice. So, but continue on.
Oh, I think I'd said what I wanted to say, really. I just wanted to talk about Ronaldo.
Okay, we'll have some Ronaldo chat at the end of the podcast. Number 3 most sold is Blake Taff, 6.4% of sides moving him on with a break-even of 88. Look, break-even of 88 sounds awful, but he hasn't been named. So you don't have to sell this week. You don't have to rush and sell.
No, he is a sell by all means, but he's not a priority sell if he's not playing.
Number 4, Jason, is it Jacob? I don't know. Karaz. 3.8% of sides, 45 break-evens. Not screaming out that he needs to be sold. But, yeah, ever since he moved to the wing, away from centre, his scores have not gone well.
No, not at all. Just another centre trap buy that we've
he made us 120K.
Yeah, it's nothing. I'm probably selling Karaz this week, and I'm going to choose to hold Cooler instead.
And the 5th most sold player this week, Lockie Ilias, 3.6% of sides with a 43 break-even. I mean, if this is the way people are getting MAM in, yeah, but if it's not, I'd just hold. Another number for 17. A 43 break-even isn't awful. The draw is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with all of that at this stage. You know, look, I wanted to sell Sam Walker in round 4, and I held him all the way to round 13. Sometimes you just got to do it for the buy number. Yeah, I can understand if it's, but even if it's the Ezra comes with an asterisk. You know, if he comes and plays the 1 week and does make 100K, sure, and then sits there and doesn't play 17, you kind of lost out in a way. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that trade.
I don't know. All right, we will take a very, very quick short break. We'll be back in, 2 or 3 minutes. Sit tight, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Thank you for sitting tight. So basically, Brew and I, we just rounded up our top 5 most sold, top 10 most bought. Few we like, few we don't like. It's a weird time of year to assess buys because each side now is looking so different. Team values are looking different. There could be $1 million worth of difference in some teams when it comes to how much their sides are worth. So it does make trades a little bit interesting. But just to recap, number 1, Mam, McInnes, Graham, Molo, Brown, Peoples, Tamalolo, Lomax, Manu, and Smith are the top 10 most bought, and Swali, Tupalotu, Taff, Koraz, and Ilias are the top 5 most sold. Let's move on to, I guess, what could be the most important thing to nail this week.
Good afternoon, this is your captain speaking.
Seems pretty clear-cut to me this week, my man, but there are some decent options. You've got Scott Drinkwater taking on the Cowboys, could be a very good VC for owners. You've got Cody Walker taking on the Titans, which could be mouth-watering. You've got Cleary taking on the Knights. You've got Hines taking on the Warriors, and you've got Dylan Brown taking on the Bulldogs. I'm favouring for Cleary as my VC against the Knights, and then taking Hines C against the Warriors, a very depleted Warriors side. Nico Hines... He can just pull 150 points out of his ass.
My planned captain this week is Nico Hines. The only way that would change would be if I got a real big gut feel, I suppose, about either Brown or Moses, if I go that way. But at the moment, I think, the Sharks beat them, what was it, however long it was ago, with, 12 men, and for part of that, 11 men. And if memory serves me correct, I think Hines killed it that day. He got, 100 odd or whatever it was. So I guess it makes sense to double down and look at the Warriors this week. Just lost their coach. We're dead set. Should have been relegated for that performance last week. That's how bad that was.
Kick him out of the comp. I feel so bad for the Warriors fans, man. Like the Warriors, I feel so bad for Warriors fans. Like the Warriors board can go do one, but the Warriors fans, like, it's getting put through the ringer.
Oh, absolutely. I guess that the hard part with this week is all the C options. It's the last 3 games for me. Like, that's your ticket. Makes it really hard to VC, I suppose. You need to have that loop option, and you're gonna have to make sure you set your team up right. And
that's key this week. Absolutely crucial this week. Make sure you. What's the way to do it? You start your guys playing early in the week, and you reserve your guys playing later in the week.
Yeah, exactly right. And just make sure that you pre-plan your loop, I guess, so that you don't get to the point of going, I'm going to loop and then go, shit, I can't. Or I got to do something silly and waste a trade or something like that. So, yeah, it's tough this week, man. Like, because there's no South players in my side that I would VC. I don't really own any Cowboys. I don't own Cobbo, for example. If, let's say, you were going to VC him, not really going to VC a Melbourne or a Roosters player. Both, key guys are backing up from Origin, and that in itself, could be a tight contest. So it's tricky this week. I'm going to try and VC Cleary, see if I've got a loop option.
I don't.
Or a way of looping.
I just checked. I've got no loop option, so we're all in on Nico.
But yeah, otherwise I'd say Nico's the guy. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to. I've got no loop. Yeah,
the only red dot I've got.
And Peoples.
Yeah, the only red dot I've got is Cotter, and he plays the very first game. So we just looked.
Cotter.
Yeah. So all in on Nico, but if you can VC Cleary, because very, very scary prospect playing the Newcastle Knights. Let's move on to some hot takes. I think last week I had Manu to go under 60. Nice. I had Kickout and Hamoli to go over 80, so that was pretty cool. This week, however, I've put a bit of spin on things, some narratives. I've got a Dragons defensive masterclass shutting out Drinkwater for a sub 50-point performance, just to repay all the owners for his wonderful game last week. I've got, after leading Queensland to an historic win, DCE is going to back up and punish the Tigers with an 85-point game. And after DCE has spanked New South Wales, Cleary's going to come back with his tail between his legs, and he is going to absolutely towel up Newcastle with a 130 plus.
Oof. Jeez, what's Nico Hines getting then if you're so keen on Nico as captain?
I just wanted to spin the narrative that Queensland will win this Wednesday.
Okay. Well, I said that Kickout would score last week. I was so confident in that I ended up trading him in. I said he'd go 90 plus. He actually didn't go 90 plus.
Would he get 89 or something?
Yeah. So that's actually technically it's a fail, but I'll take it because I called the
Mini win.
scoring part. I said Crichton would score his first try of the season. That one is a fail. I said he'd go 90 plus.
He tried. He tried very hard. He was looking to ball hog that when he got the try assist. He was looking to ball hog and throw the dummy and score.
He nearly stuffed it up.
Oh, that was forward by a mile.
About a meter. And this one, I said Matt Burton would ton up, and I said that he would just absolutely tower the Panthers up. And to a degree, I guess you could say that he did tower the Panthers up because, he was the only person on the Bulldogs side that actually played the game, but he didn't ton up. From memory, he got 97, I think it was. So I got a whole bunch of close, but no cigars last weekend. You were so close.
God you went 1 from 3, but you were so close to going perfect.
Yes. Okay. So this week, my ones, I'm going Cam Munster. He's going to ton up against my Chooks this week, backing up from Origin. I think he'll score a try in that. I'm going Kickout again this week.
Doubling down.
I'm doubling down. He's going to score 2 tries this weekend against the Newcastle Knights.
Hey, is your prediction for next week that you'll score 3?
Well, if it works. If it works last week, works this week, and I'm an owner, why the hell not? Let's triple it down. If it happens next week, I'm also going to go Tedesco to score 90 plus, but the Chooks lose.
Oof.
That one's probably a little bit spicy, but yeah, I wanted to avoid your Clearys, your Moseses, your Browns, your Hines this week because it just feels like they're all going to score
obvious,
scores. So I wanted to go a little bit loose.
Hey, if it's an open goal, you got to take it. Let's move on to...
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
So, Blake Taff is locked in to be traded to Ezra Mam, which leaves me a whole bunch of money to sell Tom Starling to someone. Now, that someone I've narrowed down to Campbell Graham, or I've nailed it down to your boy, Ronaldo Mulitalo. Now, before we went live this afternoon or tonight, I put out a tweet because I wanted to get the public's opinion as to sort of where they were sitting on the Graham Ronaldo debate. And on Twitter right now, as we speak, there has been 202 votes, with 57% of the vote going to Graham, 43% going to Ronaldo Mulitalo. So pretty close, like a 55-45 split. And I can't split them. Graham's got that really good base, but Ronaldo's got a really good draw. But what puts me off Ronaldo is I think in round 17, the Sharks play Melbourne. Now, Melbourne are without their stars, but the Sharks will be without Nico as well. So Nico will be 18th man for Origin. 18th man.
But he'll play.
No. If you're 18th man, you're not playing. If you're 18th man, you do not play for your club.
Okay.
That's what
my counter
off.
argument, and the reason why I'm not only Talakai, but I'd also consider Sione Katoa for the same reasons if you want a cheaper option, and I'd be very keen on just Sharks players in general.
The draw is elite. Sorry, just before you give your points. This week they play the Warriors. Next week they play the Titans. The week after, they play the Bulldogs, and then in round 17, they play the Melbourne without their Origin stars, which wouldn't worry me, but then it's Nico at 18th man, which worries me. On the counterpoint to Campbell Graham, what are they called? The Rabbitohs, they play the Titans this week. They play the Dragons next week. They play the Eagles in round 16, which isn't ideal. But then in round 17, they play the Newcastle Knights.
Yes.
It's tough.
But for me, are you going to want Graham for the South run at the end versus, so you've spoken about what I was about to say, basically. So Warriors, shocking defense, Gold Coast, shocking defense, Bulldogs, shocking defense, Melbourne, who knows? Nico may or may not be playing that bye round. We don't know. Let's say that he does and we get lucky. They can beat Melbourne. Then you've got the Cowboys, who are the most unlucky team in the comp this year. They play the first game after Origin twice. So they could be missing a few players there. Penrith's obviously hard. Penrith's always going to be hard. But if you're a head-to-head player, or even if you're an overall player, you're going to want to finish strong. They then have to finish the season: Dragons, West Tigers, Manly, Bulldogs, Newcastle. Like, he could score 100 in any one of those games at a key time of the year when you may run out of trades. So for me, if both are playing the bye, then get the one with the stronger draw overall, and the stronger draw overall by far is definitely.
I agree.
Mulatalo.
I agree 1,000%. If you told me Nico Hines was playing round 17, I wouldn't be having this debate with you. But the worry is that I have to rely on Matt Moylan to give my star centre wing good pill. Doesn't excite me a whole lot. But Will Kennedy is back, however, so that could be a positive. Yeah, I think I was on the Graham train. I may have been swung here. If this bites me in the ass, I'm coming for your head. What are you making for trades this week, my man? Oh, sorry. Also, I have I don't know, about 60k in the bank if I go with Ronaldo, and I've got 13 trades left. So I think, are we going to call Ezra Mam a round 17 player?
Yeah, I think they'll be missing enough people for him to poke a hole somewhere in that lineup.
Okay, I have 7 players after trades this week. So for round 17, which is fine. So if we have 13 trades, if I can bomb another 6 to get me to 13 players for round 17, that'll leave me with 7 trades to run home, which is plenty.
Yeah, I want to have 5 trades.
Yeah, I want to save. Yeah, I want to have 7 and then save 2 for one for Tedesco and then 1 for maybe Harry Grant if I can get him back in.
Yeah, I am looking at. So let me just bring up the reverse trade thing so I can tell you.
I swear to God, if Ronaldo scores 12 points this weekend, I'm coming for you.
Just get Campbell Graham so I don't have to deal with that. Look, at this point, Sam Walker, he's, I suppose, done a job for me.
What job has he done?
He's always in that 50 to kind of 55 range. He hasn't killed me, but he hasn't really helped me either.
I'll never forgive you for talking me off, Moses. Fucking Sam Walker.
He is out. Ezra Mam comes in. I've actually done cooler here, but I was actually meant to be Karaz, so my fat fingers have struck. So they're going out, and this is where I'm a little bit stuck. So from this position, I can get Moses, or I can get Brown, or I can get Ronaldo.
All right.
I can afford any of them.
So my initial thought is Brown straight away, because I think Brown is a top 2 5/8. I don't think Moses is a top 2 halfback. I think your ideal plan is to have Cleary. Right now, trades that we make right now, we basically need them to be keepers, yeah? Like, we don't have the trades to bring in guys to trade out. So,
yeah,
I don't think you want Moses for the run home. I think you want Cleary, and I think you want Hines, and I think you want two gun fullbacks at the back.
And I've still got Pappy, so I would just need to add Teddy.
Just add Teddy.
Correct.
Ronaldo, I think for the exact same points you've said to me. However, I do think Brown is the second best 5/8. Or if you want to run the risk of getting Mam and then just playing 1 5/8 for the run home, I don't hate that either. Just by putting Mam down there and just having Munster as your primary 5/8. I think Moses.
Yeah.
I think you rule Moses out of the equation. I think, he may score the more points between now and 17, but I just think long term you're saving yourself a trade you don't have to make. You can strengthen your squad by getting Brown in now.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Moses is something I've been thinking about for the Tedesco reason, because I do have Hines, obviously, that can play either. But if I get Moses, I'm going to want to keep Moses, which means I'm not going to get Teddy.
It's not a case of wanting to. I think you have to. Like, you don't have the trades luxury to bring in a guy that's 600k, then trade him back out just for 1 week. Like, I'm looking at Reid Marnie as well, like in the next coming weeks, and I have to say to myself, okay, if I get Reid Marnie, I probably have to sacrifice Harry Grant, and am I prepared to do that? So, like, when we're bringing in these guns now, I think that's just the approach that we have to look at it. It's like, if you're bringing in Moses, cool, but you've got to be okay with the idea of having Moses until the end, I feel.
Yeah. So for me, Mam's pretty much locked in, and then I'll work out during the week whether it's going to be the old Dillbags or Mulatalo, because, I really do want to get Mulatalo in my side. So,
and Sivo.
We will see what happens. Going back to hooker, I think I'm not going to get Harry Grant back. I think I'm going to float the idea of having Brandon Smith, Cotter, and McInnes
Oh,
and
you're
just
not going to
playing.
get amongst the Marnie train?
Oh, like I love Reid Marnie as a football player. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather just lock in a safe 60 to 70 points, every week rather than worrying if he's going to get 40 or 80.
I'm only getting Reid in round 17. I learnt the hard way getting TPJ a few weeks early. I don't trust Harry Grant's groin. Because knowing my luck, I'll buy money like next week and then Grant will just die and then Reid will be straight into Origin camp. So, yeah, I do not trust them. However, apart from that, like I think my side's sitting pretty good. I've got a fair bit of depth actually. Like there's a few guys I'm not actually starting this week. So like I'm just debating now really whether I start Joey Manu. So I'm leaving out Cotter. I'm leaving out Nat Butcher, Ezra Mam, Tupou, Suwali. Like I've got pretty good depth. I'm just working out whether I sit or start Manu, which sounds crazy because the guy's averaging 71. And I've got a reserve tag on Max King at the moment, which I don't love, but he's fine, I think.
I'd play the higher upside. I like Max King as a player as long as he's starting. We know he's a PPM machine. I wouldn't be playing like a Suwali type.
No. My choice is between Manu, Tupou, and Cooler. I've got to pick one of those three.
Oh fuck! I wouldn't do Cooler, bro.
Against the Tigers, man.
Yeah,
they're gonna have me as coach.
Try this year. if you're going to be the coach, well,
I'll make a game
maybe
plan
you
that
can
we just
actually get him some ball.
Yeah, I'll make a game plan that we just
problem.
do not defend him.
When Tom doesn't play, what's his name? Old mate just feeds the ball to Olakawatu, and it doesn't really spread out wide.
He got 42 last week doing sweet FA.
Well, there was a line break in there.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
But he was off for HIA for 15 minutes. It was one of his better games, and he did get a few more touches, but I don't know if that changes when Cherry Evans comes back. Because Foran played a lot different last weekend in that game. So
yeah, there was like a turn back the clock 2012, Kieran Foran.
Oh, he
looked good.
Olakwatu was probably the player of the weekend, to be honest with you. That sounds like a big call. Like he ended up going off, I think, after 60, 65 minutes, but he was an absolute animal when he was on the field. They could barely stop him. And I thought, honestly, it was the first time owning him. I was sitting there going, I fucking love this guy. Like,
and then he gets pulled, and then he gets benched,
and then he gets a well-earned break. But he did cop a cork, so I think that's why he went off. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me, man.
I think that's it for me too. I think this podcast has gone on long enough. We'll hang back and answer questions for about 10 minutes or so as usual. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed and you want to get amongst the chat, then obviously check out YouTube at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. What time do we go live on a Sunday? 6:30, I think. So yeah, come stop by, say hi, the Dual Position Podcast on YouTube. If you don't, stay on the podcast feeds. I have been the SC Whisperer, coach of the Ramsey Resurgence, and I've been joined, as always, by Brew SC, coach of the Brew World Order. We will be back with you on Sunday, hopefully with some good scores.
Is it Sunday or is it Monday?
Oh, is there a Monday game this week?
Yeah, public holiday.
Oh,
Monday.
Okay, good. Because that reminded me, I'm not actually here Sunday. So Monday works perfect because there is a Monday game. You are right. So we'll be back on Monday. I have no idea. I have no idea what time. Probably
6:30ish.
Probably 6:30ish. Yeah. So Monday should be chill. We'll see you all then, podcast listeners. The feed will be out on Tuesday, the day after. So enjoy, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. See you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, let's answer a few questions. Also, where is it? Where'd my guy go? There was a guy roasting me. I just wanted to highlight it.
Was there? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he called me. He said I got no. Hang on, where is he? Oh, I've lost him. I'll give him his 5 minutes of fame. No, I can't find him. Anyway, he called me a flog. So, thanks. All right, guys, chuck in your questions and Brew and I will quickly answer them. Cotter to McInnes. Yeah, so let's talk Cotter. Because do we see him as a season keeper? I've put my foot up on my desk now. I'm getting real comfy. Do we see him as a season keeper, or do we is he a sell with the like managed minutes? This is probably like a peak price for him. Like I don't think his value's going to increase. Like, is there a world where we can sell Cotter?
Look, I floated the idea of selling Cotter last week. but it's a very handy duel. I do think he's a keeper. Like, he's got a 65 average, and that wouldn't even factor in what his recent, 3 or 5 round average is. I haven't even checked that, but I think he's a keeper. So I'm saying don't do that.
I would also agree. Is Jazz a trade to Reed? I would just prefer.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
McInnes, if you don't own him. I think McInnes is probably the top hooker option for now. Like I said, Reed's a guy that I want to own, but I want to own in round 17 because I just don't trust Harry Grant. I mean,
yeah, well,
Queensland will be up. Queensland will be up 2-0 in the series, and they might just throw Reed a bone and be like, "Yeah, bro, like have some time," Like I don't know.
I'm trying to pick out some of these questions. Why do you always refer to yourself as we? There you go, Josh. Why do we refer to yourself as we?
Because we are a community. It's not just. I've always said that. I've always said this. Like, I rely on you guys a lot for help. Like, people think that I make all my decisions just like myself. And if you follow me on my social medias, I ask questions about my trades all the time. So, I think I use we as a collective because, like, I'm Josh. My name's Josh. That's who I am. I'm not the Whisperer in real life. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, and also, like, I ask you guys for so much help. So I like to think of it as a we. Like, this Supercoach Whisperer thing is a we project. Like, you guys helped me build what it is now. So we.
There you have it. All right, some questions.
Also, what a politician answer.
I know, it was very diplomatic of you, mate. What have we got? I'm trying to get some of these out. So, boost for Sivo. We didn't actually talk about Sivo. So, no, we did. Sivo
can you hold the fort? Can you hold the fort for 2 minutes? I'm just going to go grab something quickly.
Yeah, you're good. I'll rattle off some answers. Thoughts on Michael Molo? A little bit potentially trappish. Could drop out of the side. First score was inflated by a try. I'm not sure about him. I think there's probably going to be better cheapie options. What else have we got? Max King to Clemmer. I don't hate that move. I don't think Max King is an immediate sell. Like, whilst you got Pangai out, he seems to be getting a starting spot. If he gets that, he gets good minutes. Grant to McInnes frees up a lot of cash. I sold Grant last week and I was able to pick up 3 guns basically by doing it. So I certainly don't hate it. I think he'll be on a minutes restriction over this period. I think they'll nurse him through because he's too important to their win-loss record. I'm back. Zinger boxes.
I'm back. You won't see it, but like you can watch back on streamers to why I quickly got it for a second.
Fucking me.
Okay. Thoughts on Zinger boxes? Zinger boxes are elite.
It's got to be a Zinger stacker.
No, but
for the record.
Remember when you could get a Zinger with a KFC crusher?
Oh, remember when you could get a towel burger or a piece of hot and spicy chicken like all the time? Anyway, you're going to make me hungry. Burton is a hold to around 18. I'd say
yes,
just
I would
ride
say
his
yes
cash. Thoughts on Nat Busher? I think he's a sell.
I don't. I think he's a hold for another week or two. And then, like, he's not the most pressing issue in people's sides, surely.
Handy price to upgrade, though.
Yeah. I think you can hold him for a week.
I think you can hold him for a week. He'll play lock this week. I don't think the plan last week was for him to play 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure he got a head wound, and that's why he didn't come back on. So I'd expect him to probably score 50 to 55 this week, which is a holdable score. Josh, you got any? I got sent a couple of questions actually. So
okay, hit me.
I got
Everyone's rinsing me. Good. I'm here for the click.
All right, Lyle, he's regular on the show.
He is.
Couldn't be on tonight. He messaged me in advance. He asked, Mulatalo and McInnes for Firma and Tago out.
Ooh. Okay, so let's talk Tago and May. Who? I think we hold one. I just don't know which one we hold.
Well, that's the problem. And their next draw is so sweet that I'm holding both, and I'm going to deal with it later. I'm hoping it sorts itself out, basically.
Someone like either gets injured or just like turns to shit.
Well, the next 3 weeks are so good. I really can't see why you would sell them. Like, either one of them can go 60 or 70 plus at any given week. Even on an average week, they can get that. So I just don't see what the priority is. So I wouldn't really look to sell them personally. So I wouldn't put them up against each other. Handy jewels too.
Grant to McInnes, then Suwali to Lomax. I like that.
And McInnes, hold on, or Lomax and McInnes for both Firma and Butcher. I prefer the latter.
I prefer. Wait, what was the first one?
Mulatalo and McInnes would be the ins.
Yep.
The outs would be Firma and Tago.
Yep.
The second one is Lomax or McInnes for Firma again or Butcher. So the difference is, yeah.
Tago. Yeah, I mean, it's a case of how much stock you have in Mulatalo. I'm a fan. You're a fan. That means selling.
Yeah.
That means selling Tago, which isn't ideal. But yeah, I think I prefer the latter too.
Yeah, just because it doesn't sell Tago.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Any more quick questions in here?
Someone said Cleary to MAM. Yes, and then
No.
and then Captain MAM this week. At least I won't
Do
come.
not go Cleary
At least
to
I won't come
MAM.
last.
17 trades is not enough to do Cleary to MAM.
Will Grant lose
Will
100k
Grant
in 2 to
lose-
3? Yes, I think he will.
Yeah, fucking oath he will. Any more questions on the screen?
No, I
Selling
reckon-
Burbo.
Oh, we'll do one more. Is Tupou to Lomax 2 side with looking at draws, Bs, and origin duties? I mean,
No. One plays the buy and one doesn't. So look
Yeah.
at the total points over that period, and
I'll
you got an
wait
easy
up.
winner.
I weighed up Tupou. The only reason I elected to hold is because he had that 100 in his rolling average. I think I'll move him on once that comes out.
I don't dislike that move at all. I just think it makes sense. You look at who's going to score more points over the next 6 weeks, and it's very easily going to be Lomax. So there's your answer.
Yeah, I think I might go Tupou to Graham next week, actually. All right, I reckon that's going to be it. Tago and Aiken. I think we've touched on Tago. We like holding him, and hopefully something sorts itself out. But yeah, thanks very much, guys, for hanging by. We wanted to do a longer stream tonight because, we
Skipped out on a few.
skipped out on a few. We didn't do Sunday. The last couple of ones have been shorter. So, but apart from that, I've got nothing else to say. We've been going for an hour tonight, so I appreciate it. Origin tomorrow night. Let's hope no one gets injured because that's going to be a crisis.
Yeah, let's hope they change the time so I can actually watch it
fucking 10 past 8. Oh, you're going to get me on a rant. 10 past 8. Like, I stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm a night owl. But, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, like I start work at 3 a.m. There's no way I can do it. Like, if it started at 7:30, they'd probably suck me in.
Yeah.
Like I'd watch the first half and go, oh fuck, it's 8-6 at half time. Well, I'll just watch a little bit of the second half, and next minute, it's 10 o'clock and I've watched the whole game. But it's starting at 8:10, which will turn out to be 8:25 or something. It's just it sucks for me. It's too late. So go the Blues. I'll check the score
Go the
on
Maroons.
Thursday morning.
Up the boys. All right. Ruben Cotter masterclass. All right, guys. Good luck. Have fun. I started a new position at work, so I can't do streams. But Aman from NRL Supercoach Talks and I will be doing some Twitter Spaces on Thursday night. So come stop by, hang out with us. Apart from that, Brew and I will see you. What is it? Monday. We'll see you Monday. Public holiday. So shout out to the Queen.
Cattle dog. See you guys.
Bye. Queenslander!